Hey everybody, welcome back. More Commander casual card deck building stuff. We're happy to be here. It's great. Good time. How you doing? You're doing great. Yeah, good to meet you. Okay, I'm happy to do this one because this one is a fun deck. I really like this deck. This is Chun-Li Countless Kicks. 1 mana, 1 white, and 1 blue. Now here's the kicker. She has an ability called Multi-Kicker, which you can pay a white or a blue in order to do. When she enters the battlefield, you exile up to X target instant cards from your graveyard, where X is the number of times Chun-Li was kicked. You put a kick counter on each of them. And whenever Chun-Li attacks, copy each exiled card you own with a kick counter on it. You may cast the copies. She's a 3/3. So how it works is you cast her, she comes in. Yeah, let me grab a couple of instant. We'll just grab like 3. We'll grab 3. That works. Okay. So I pay 3 mana and then I kick her 3 times. So I get 3. So now the 3 come in and they are kicked. And you put some counters on them, which I have elsewhere. And then you move to combat. So you move to combat, she attacks. Now here's the thing. It'll create a copy. Boom. Now you have to still cast and pay the mana for the copy. It doesn't cast them for free. That is something that has been a question for a lot of people when it comes into this. So you need to have a lot of mana that you can then cast again to do other stuff. So then you'll cast it. It is in the trigger of that. So you got to cast it. You got to do all your crap first. And then for whatever you end up casting, you're casting the copy. These stay exiled. And then you'll untap on your next turn and do it again. And you have more. You got ways to bounce her to your hand or return her to the command zone. So that way you can kick her again. Just flickering her back without having to pay for any stuff again doesn't work. So hopefully that cleared up a couple things. I know some people have had questions about this and have been confused about this, but wanted to clarify. Because if it did cast for free, that would be super strong. And we would have seen a lot more people play her. All right, well, let's get started. Eventually, I'm going to have to move you, but you're fine for now. What? I will. No, don't even. Okay, we're just going to move past that. Island. Bruna, Light of Alabaster, 3, 2 white, and a blue. She's the legendary angel. She has flying and vigilance. Whenever Bruna, Light of Alabaster attacks or blocks, you may attach to it any number of auras on the battlefield, and you may put onto the battlefield, attached to it, any number of aura cards that could enchant it from your graveyard and or hand. And she's a 5/5. Now, the reason why I have her in here is she's a flyer, Vigi, 5/5, matches the colors. It's good. It's solid. But the other reason I like her is because she is a hard counter to any Voltron decks that particularly build up one creature with auras. So something like Lightfoot, that Fox Lightfoot dude. He's like 1 mana, you cast him, you search for an enchantment, you put it on. Like, that dude is so frustrating. So this is a hard counter to that, because he gets out, he builds it up, and then you cast it, you take all of those enchantments and put it on Bruna. Like, it is awesome. I love it. It is such a fun one. I've yet to run into somebody with the Lightfoot or other Voltron enchantment type decks, because I haven't had it on me when I had played against them, and then when I had it, there weren't any. So one day it'll happen. But it's good. It's still good to have it in there, even if you don't get to use the effect. So no worries. Myriad Landscape. It comes in tapped. Taps for colorless. And then you can pay 2 to tap it and sacrifice it. Search your library for 2 basic land cards that share the same land type. So meaning either 2 islands or 2 plains. You put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then you shuffle. Poppet Stitcher, 2 and a blue. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Decayed means it cannot block, and when it attacks, you sacrifice it at the end of combat. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you may transform Poppet Stitcher. Normally it's a 2/3. Then it turns into Poppet Factory, just a plain old artifact. Creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have a base power and toughness 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Poppet Factory. So you can transform it, flip it, transform it, cast more stuff, flip it, go back so you have more stuff. But hopefully you'll have other means and other tokens of getting stuff out there as well. Archmage Emeritus, 2 and 2 blue. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. He's a 2/2. Island. Grand Arbiter Augustine the Fourth. 2 mana, all white and a blue. This guy is on the game changer list and people hate him. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. I think on another video I might have misread that. I think I might have said 2. Well, now that I'm thinking about it. Or maybe that was a misprint. Maybe the other one. I'll have to go back and look at it. You know what? Let's look at it right now. We can do this because this is just what we do. You know, you got to figure this stuff out while you're thinking about it. Gotta look through some stuff. Sorry, the screen's not entertaining right now because I'm looking through a deck. But at least you get my song. And I'll sing it all along, every day, always. Keep a song in your heart, people. Keep a song singing. I know I'm not very good right now. I've been talking a lot, so my voice might sound kind of bleh. So don't mind me. I apologize if it's problematic for your ears. Here we go. Well, would you look at that? I think I might have a misprint here. So this one says 1. I don't know if you can see that. The little glare sometimes catches it. Stop it. Okay, 1. There you go. And then this one's got 2. You can see it right there. Oh, let's just look at that. Well, we're gonna have to do something about that because that's not a good time. All right, we caught it. Awesome. Thanks for helping me out, guys. Thanks for your patience. We solved a problem that is a big problem. It's a 2/3 power and toughness. Access denied. 3 mana and 2 blues. Counter target spell. Create X 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying, where X is that spell's mana value. Wait a minute. I had some cards from other stuff in there. Mix that up a little bit. My apologies. Celeste Angel Incarnate. This is the Celestine Battle Angel from 40k. I think this is the in-universe version. 4 mana and a white. Flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. She's a 3/4. Good stuff. Great stuff. We love it. Seal of the Guild Pact, 5 mana. As it enters the battlefield, choose 2 colors, white and blue. Each spell you cast costs 1 less to cast for each of the chosen colors it is. So, for example, we've got our Grand Arbiter here, who is a white and a blue, meaning he's going to have a 2-cost reduction from a 4 down to a 2, which is awesome. And that works for all of these suckers. Island. Stormherd, 8 and 2 white. Put X 1/1 White Pegasus creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield where X is your life total. I cast that once at max life. I had 40 flying Pegasuses. It was awesome. Or Pegasi, sorry. Dream Trawler, 2 2 mana, 2 white, and 2 blue. Flying and lifelink. Whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever he attacks, you draw a card. And discard a card. Dream Caller gains hexproof until end of turn, and then you tap it. It's a power 3/5. Island. Shark Typhoon. 5 and a blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell mana value. You can cycle it for X, 1 and a blue, and when you cycle it, you just create a big XX blue shark creature token with flying. Sun Titan, 4 and 2 white. Vigilance. When Sun Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It is a 6/6. Firemind Vessel, 4 mana. It enters tapped, and you can add 2 mana of different colors, white and blue. Reconnaissance, 1 white. You can pay 0 to remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. This works great with Chun-Li. You have her going for the attack. Before damage, you remove it and untap it, and she's safe, but you get the attack triggers. Wonderful stuff. Aether Channeler, 2 and a blue. When it enters, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, or draw a card. It's a 2/1. Lazatep Plating, 1 and a blue. Amass 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. If you don't control one, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Revitalize, 1 and white. You gain 3 life, you draw a card. Island. Plains. Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Island. Island. Take up the shield, 1 and a white. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. I'm sure you're starting to see a pattern. Chasm Skulker, 2 and a 1, 2 and a blue. When you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When Chasm Skulker dies, create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. It's a 1/1. Invoke the Divine, 2 and a white. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 4 life. Unbreakable Formation, 2 and a white. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. If you cast this spell during your main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures, and they gain vigilance until the end of turn. Temple of the False God. Taps for 2 colorless. Activate if you only have 5 or more lands. Aboleth Spawn, 2 and a blue. Flash means instant speed. Ward 2 means 2 extra mana to target it. Whenever a creature entering the battlefield under an opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, you may copy that ability and choose new targets. It is a 2/3. This is a great one to steal other people's ETB triggers. Mana Drain, 2 blue. Counter target spell at the beginning of your next main phase. Add an amount of colorless equal to that spell's mana value. Slip out the back, 1 blue. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It phases out, meaning it doesn't exist until your next turn. And Ghostly Flicker, 2 and a blue. Exile 2 target artifact, creature, and or lands you control. Then return those to the battlefield under your control. Another island. We like our shiny islands. Flawless Maneuver, 2 and a white. If you control a commander, you may cast the spell without paying its mana cost. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's a great one to get with that, because if you've got your commander and you copy it, and then you can just have everything indestructible all the time. It's great. Mother of Runes, 1 white. You can tap it, and target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It's a 1/1. Reprieve, 1 and a white. Return target spell to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Plains. We like our shiny plains. Command Tower, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Rhystic Study, 2 and a blue. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. This is also on the Game Changer list, so beware. Reflector Mage, 1 mana, 1 white and 1 blue. When Reflector Mage enters the battlefield, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. That creature's owner can't cast spells with the same name as that creature until your next turn is a 2/3. This one is a great one to flicker back and forth, because you can just return stuff to their hand and they have to wait until their following turn. Your turn, their turn, they can't cast it. Your turn, they can cast it. So it's a good delay. Wonderful stuff. Plains, shiny plains, we love it. Flood of Tears, 4 and 2 blue. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand. If you return 4 or more non-token permanents you control this way, you may put a free permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Pippin, Guard of the Citadel, 1 white, 1 blue. Vigilance, Ward 1. Tap it for another target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn. It can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything of that type. And here's the interesting thing. This works on lands because it's a card type. So I had someone try and Maze of Ith a card, and I'm just like, protection from land cards. So they couldn't Maze of Ith it. It was great. Pretty good card. Remember that. Although do remember that if you pick something like instant or sorcery, and it says, you know, sorcery, destroy all creatures, your creature is still destroyed. It doesn't get around the each keyword, even though it has protection from sorcery. I don't know why they picked that particular way of wording it, but just beware, it doesn't work that way. Diluvian Primordial, 5 and 2 blue. It's flying, and when it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may cast up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If a card cast this way would be put into the graveyard, exile instead. It is a 5/5. Plains. Smothering Tithe, also on the Game Changers list. 3 and a white. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a treasure token. Extra mana, always love it. Marshal's Anthem, 2 and 2 white. Enchantment, Multi-Kicker. This is also a really good one. 1 mana and a white, and you can pay this as many times as you cast a spell. It comes out as an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and then when it enters, you return up to X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of times Martial Anthem was kicked. So it costs 4, and then 6, 8, 10, 12, and then for every on the 6, 8, 10, 12, that's 4 creatures you return from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that has always been a successful one to hang on to. Plains again. Propaganda, 2 and a blue. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 mana for each creature they control that's attacking you. Thematic Compass, 2 mana. 3 mana and tap to search your library for a basic land card. You reveal it, put it into your hand, and then you shuffle your library. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, you transform it. And it becomes a tap for colorless, or you can tap it to untap attacking creature an opponent controls and remove it from combat, basically giving it a Maze of Ith ability. So that's a fun one. And then Murmuring Mystic, 3 and a blue. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion creature token with flying. We'll put you there. Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana. It's equipment. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste, meaning your opponents can't target it with spells or abilities. And equip cost 1. Teferi's Protection, 2 and a white. Until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. While they're phased out, they don't exist, and then you exile Teferi's Protection. You only get to do it once. Soul Ring, 1 mana, taps for 2 colors. Good stuff. I think that's the Lord of the Rings one. That looks like that, yeah. Debt of Loyalty, 1 and 2 white. It's an instant. Regenerate target creature, gain control of that creature. So if you have a creature an opponent controls that is dying or about to die or any of that stuff, you can regenerate it, tapping it, removing it from combat and all that stuff, and then gain control of it. And it's yours. It's awesome. How many white cards do you have where you get to gain control of stuff? It's not too common. Inventive Iteration, 3 and a blue. Return up to 1 target creature card or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Step 2. Return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, you draw a card. Step 3. Exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. Living Breakthrough. It's an enchantment creature. It's a 3/3. Flying. Whenever you cast a spell, your opponents can't cast spells with the same mana value as that spell until your next turn. So I've got this out. I'm going to cast a 2 mana. I'm going to cast a 3 mana. I'm going to cast a 4 mana. That means until my next turn, my opponents can't cast spells with mana cost 2, 3, or 4. This has been a fun one to have. I've gotten that out a couple times, and it really bothers people. But it's fun. I like it. Esper Sentinel, 1 mana, 1 white. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, you draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power, which he is a 1/1. Azorius Chancery enters tapped. When it enters, you return a land you control to your hand, and you can tap it for a white and a blue. Shiny Island. Shiny Island. Wizards of Thay, 3 and a blue. It has Myriad, meaning when this creature attacks for each opponent other than the defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of it attacking, tapped and attacking that player and planeswalker they control. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. So basically, I attack opponent directly across from me, creates 2 more copies diagonally and to my left. So then they're all getting hit with a 3/3. But this is the more important part. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less, and you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So those 2 are the more important parts. Wall of Denial, 1 white and a blue. Defender, flying, shroud, 0/8. Can't attack, can't be targeted, flying, block stuff. It's great. Path of Ancestry, enters tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color into your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scribe 1. She's a human soldier. I think we got a couple humans, a couple soldiers. I wasn't sure. It was more so for the white and blue, and then with the sometimes scry. Not as useful in this one because it's not a creature deck, a tribal deck. Shiny Islands, Shiny Plains, and Shiny Islands. Sorry. I know some people would take major offense to that, calling an island a plains and vice versa. I am thirsty. Hang on a sec. This episode's sponsor is hydration. Angelic Guardian, 4 and 2 white. Flying. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control attack, they gain indestructible until end of turn. She's a 5/5. Shiny Plains. And Snap. 1 and a blue. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Untap up to 2 lands. That works great for either you or your opponents. Let's move her over here. See, look, I didn't touch you. Relax. Jace's Sanctum, 3 and a blue. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, scry 1. I think that's a good one. I can't remember if that's on the list or not. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Brave the Sands, 1 and a white. Creatures you control have vigilance. Each creature you control can block an additional creature. Tura Kenurud Sky Knight. 2, a white and 2 blue. Flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Is a 3/3. The Council of 4. 3, a white and a blue. Whenever a player draws their second card during their turn, you draw a card. Whenever a player casts their second spell during their turn, you create a 2/2 white knight creature token and a 0/8 power toughness. Island. Shiny. Wandering Archaic. 5 mana. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. It is a 4/4. It also has a backside, which is a 3-mana spell called Explore the Vastlands. Sorcery. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land and or an instant or sorcery card from among them, then puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand, and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. That's good for group hug stuff, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not. I don't want to give stuff that benefits other people. What are you talking about? The reality chip, 1 in a blue. It is a legendary artifact creature equipment jellyfish. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as the reality chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Reconfigure, 2 in a blue, meaning attach this to a creature or unattach it from a creature. Only as a sorcery. While attached, this is not a creature. It's a 0/4. Steel of the Godhead, 2 and a white or a blue. Enchant a creature. As long as enchanted creature is white, it gets +1/+1 and is lifelink. As long as enchanted creature is blue, it gets +1/+1 and is unblockable. So you got a lot of whites and a lot of blues and a lot of white blues. So benefit from that one. Spellskite, 2 mana. You can pay Phyrexian blue, which is 2 life or a blue, and you change a target of a target spell or ability to Spellskite. It's a 0/4. So if, for example, I got my commander out and I'm attacking, and they're like, no, we don't want you to attack. Before you attack, we're going to Swords to Plowshare and exile it. And you'd be like, no, I'm going to pay 2 life, and I'm going to take that target, and I'm going to make this the target, exiling Spellskite instead. It's great. You can also do that with other spells. So if you have an opponent that is doing a lot of, like if they have a Feather deck, which is a white-red Boros with a lot of single target spells that they target themselves, you can just be like, pay blue, pay 2 life, pay blue, pay 2 life, and keep having those spells target Spellskite instead, completely shutting them down. That'd be a lot of fun. Haven't done it yet. I will one day. Repel the Vile, 3 and a white. Choose 1. Exile target creature with power 4 or greater. Exile target enchantment. Sun Cleanser, 1 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Remove all counters from target creature. It can't have counters put on it for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. Target opponent loses all counters. That player can't get counters for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. It's a 1/4. This is great for some of those counter builds on some of those decks out there as well, which I have encountered more often than you think, and this has come in quite handy. Venser, the Sojourner, 3, a white and a blue. +2 to exile target permanent you own and return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. -1, creatures can't be blocked this turn. -8, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent. 3 loyalty. Sarah Ascendant, 1 white. Lifelink, as long as you have 30 or more life, Sarah Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. It's 1/1. So first turn play, you got a 6/6 flying lifelink. Like, that is fantastic, because in Commander, your life is 40. So that's a great way to start and keep you up. Will Kenrith, 4 and 2 blue, +2. Until your next turn, up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 0/3 and lose all abilities. This is a great way to shut down other people if they got big gnarly engines going on. You're just like, nope, they're not happening, and you just keep doing it. Don't let them kill you with it. -2, target player draws 2 cards until your next turn. Instant, sorcery, and planeswalker spells that player casts cost 2 less to cast. So you can target yourself, or if you need somebody needs help and you want to be like, hey, I'll help you out there or there. Target player gets an emblem on the -8 ability. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy, and it can be partners with his sister Rowan. And Will and Rowan can be your commanders for loyalty. Eventually, I might make a deck with those guys, because I like the twins. They're cool. Shiny Healer's Hawk, probably one of the best cards in the game. White, flying lifelink, 1/1. That's it. That's all that it does. But it's awesome. Isochron Scepter, 2 mana. Imprint. When Isochron Scepter enters the battlefield, you may exile an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand. You then can pay 2 mana and tap it to copy the exiled card. If you do, you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Shiny Plains. We got, can you see it over? Yeah, we can see it right here a little bit better. Fierce Guardianship, 2 and a blue. If you control a commander, you may cast the spell without paying its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. Now, generally, you don't want to exile with the multi-kickers with your counter spells, because it's not too often that when she attacks, they're going to counter one of those spells. I mean, if you have some gnarly ones you want to throw in there, but mine are pretty simple. They make one creature stronger, maybe make them indestructible, maybe give them +1 counters, whatever. But it couldn't hurt to maybe do this one because it's free. And then should somebody happen to do that, countering one of yours, you might be able to counter it within the allotted time frame. I'm not exactly sure on the timing of that, because you copy all of them and then you may cast them. So you copy them, and then as you cast them, somebody might counter, and then you counter, but they know that you are countering your counter, so they might not do it. I don't know. It might be a bluff check for them out there. Keep that in mind. Double check the rules. Sword of Hearth and Home, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and from white. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target creature you own. Then search your library for a basic land card. Put both of them onto the battlefield under your control, then shuffle. Equip cost 2. Darksteel Plate, 3 mana. Indestructible. Equipped creature has indestructible. Equip cost 2. We're going to move you up just to... Stop yelling. You're still in frame. Teferi Time Raveler, 1, a white and a blue. Each opponent can cast spells only at any time they can cast a sorcery, meaning flash and instant are gone. They can only cast during their turn. +1, until your next turn you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash, meaning I'm giving my sorcery spells instant. And -3, return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand, draw a card. Loyalty 4. Authority of the Consuls, 1 white. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, you gain 1 life. Great stuff for token decks. Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size, taps for colorless. Dovin's Veto, a white and a blue. This spell can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell. Plains, we'll put a plains with plains. Niblis of Frost, 2 and 2 blue. Flying and Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Basically, put a stun counter on it. And it is a 3/3. Tundra. It is a plains and an islands. Taps for white or blue. And a plains. We'll put our plains over here. All right. Well, there you go. There is my happy-go-lucky Chun-Li deck. This one's a lot of fun. Played it a bunch. Messed with it a couple of times to where you see it as is today. But it's a fun one. I do recommend it. Build your own. Maybe even go more so into the mana reduction, bouncing to your hand so you can cast it and multi-kick a bunch of stuff, and a lot more protection so you can keep swinging with her and keep casting all those spells. I divvied it out with some other creatures and some enchantments and some artifacts to sort of balance it out a little bit, like I generally tend to do. But, I mean, even some of the basic ones, like this, exile or destroy target artifact or enchantment and gain life. Like, that's simple. Make all your creatures indestructible. That's simple. +1 counters and indestructible. Draw cards. Draw a card and gain life. Amass a token and hexproof. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out there you can get going with it on just a very simple basis. So hope you liked it, and thank you for tuning in. We'll be sure to catch you guys next time.